Hey everyone, welcome back to Dark Souls 3. My name is Joy with Game Center Crown, and I was able to use a purging stone when I was back at Firelink Shrine spending my souls, so we are no longer hollow. Just to prove it to you. Aw, there's our sweet boy. Alright, so that's good. That's a good time. Anyway, we are back at the bonfire that we started at before we squared off with Madeira over here. And I'm hoping it took me a little while to figure out how to progress how you were supposed to. But as I'm saying it now, I'm remembering how we progress. Okay, good. That's very good. So we come in here and we're not gonna fuck with that guy. Oh. Oh, come here, you piece of shit. Stop it. Thank you. Will you give me Twinkling? Titanite scale times 2! Jesus Christ. But if we come out here, we get the most... Hold on. Touchpad's always fucking with me. We get the most extra-looking motherfucking ring knight of all time. Look at those Soul Calibur-ass, demon nightmare-ass blades. I can't deal. Look at this guy. Anyway. We have some goodies that we can get from him. He doesn't like that we're on his turf. We get budding green blossom. And we don't need to fight him, but let's just do it. Like I said, it's extra as fuck. Nice. And I'm gonna back away now. Get that magic. Ugh, almost done with them. You stop that. And we get the Ringed Knight leggings, a Titanite chunk, an Estus back, and Ring Knight paired greatswords. Ugh. Okay, so we've just picked up a bitchin' weapon, and I see it right there. You need 40 strength to carry this motherfucker. Paired black greatswords wielded by the Ringed Knights. Excuse me. The arms of early men were forged in the abyss and betray a smidgen of life. For this reason, the gods cast a seal of fire upon such weapons and those who possessed them. So, pretty bitchin'. And I can't remember if we can actually... There is a... with that. I feel like there's a safer... Ooh, hello. There's a safer way to get that. A ritual spear fragment. This is a fun time. Online play item. A fragment of the matching ritual spears once held by the Knights of Princess Filianor. They are the namesake of the Spears of the Church. When Spears of the Church face unduly treacherous foes, this allows them to draw upon their former majesty and summon a row of upward thrusting ritual spears. This is actually pretty cool. This is Pray to the Divine Spear Monument. Offer Filianor's Spear Ornament. We have one. Covenant Allegiance Deepened. And we can leave. But yeah, this is where you offer up your shit, and this is what the spears look like right here. I don't think it'll work, but I'm gonna equip it anyway. So, this is a boss battle, like, fucking, it's kind of obvious anyway, but, here, I actually want to come down here. I feel like there's some goodies down here. Oh, no, that's right. We can jump there, come down. Got it. I see what's happening. Unfortunately, that asshole knight does respawn. Twinkling Titanite. The one with the great swords, that is, so... Just best to deal with this area and keep moving forward. This is a boss battle, and it's a very unique boss battle. You can play this online or offline, and depending which one you do, we're currently online. I actually want to get some dialogue here by switching my Covenant into a spear of the church. And you can see we're flashing in the top left there.
Spear of the church, turn back. The abyss runneth deep. Thou hast sworn to protect thou mistress's slumber. Or wouldst thou thy covenant forsake in violation of the king's decree?
So would you violate your covenant of being a spear of the church to trespass? I guess they think that if you're coming through here, you're doing it to awaken the princess and disturb her slumber, which, bitch, we might be. So that happens because we're wearing the covenants. I'm wondering if we can juke him real quick and get both the dialogues. Nope, he knows. Fuck it! Open this pit up. And we get the fog gate and all these ringed knights with spears. And I'm actually gonna summon some people for this. We really want to have people for this fight. So this can happen two ways. If you're playing offline, what happens is you fight a spear of the church named Half-Light Spear of the Church. Since we're playing online, you'll see what happens. I'll explain it as it's happening. But let's just say the Covenant is very interesting. What you can do with the Covenant in this game. And the reason why it exists adds a very interesting sort of gameplay mechanic. And I'm waiting for that guy to summon so I can summon one more person. I definitely want to have two people going into this. You could probably do it alone, but it really takes the heat off your ass if you have two people. I'm unable to summon phantoms. Why? Why? I want to summon some phantoms. Liar. Ooh, I don't know who a liar is. I don't know who said what to who, but I would really like to have summons for this fight because it's going to be a shit show if I can't. And I might have to do it offline if I can't get summons. Here, refresh the area. And part of... No! I don't want to turn back. I'm gonna forsake my covenant. I'm gonna violate Gwyn's words. It's gonna be awesome. You know what? Let me see if I can do this by myself. I probably can't. But here's what happens.
To forswear thy covenant and the king's decree. I, Judicator Argo, shall bring this defiled spear to justice.
So his name's Judicator Argo.
Divine spear of yours, sworn to head Princess Vivian. To the call that summons thee.
You want to get rid of this guy pretty quick. So we get these painted guardians, and they do healing, is what they do. And they also do a fuck bunch of damage. You'll notice somebody just got summoned. And not just anybody either. It's a straight up, like, real person online. And this asshole just healed. And he can't heal, actually, because he's the boss. Yeah, that's right. Another player becomes the boss. Oh, he just got healed, son of a... And I'm trying to interrupt their spell casting. God damn it. And that is that spear fragment shit. They are really doing a hurt on me here. One painting guardian down, which means one heal bitch down. Whoa. This guy's weak. I need to just finish him off. Shit, he got a little bit of that healing magic. I want to be focusing on that guy. Easy, buddy. You don't want to fuck with me right now. And that blue thing is that church shiv shit. Whoa! Yeah, that was not good. That was less than ideal. For sure. God damn it. Yeah, this is gonna be a close one for sure. No! No, 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 no! Yeah, you don't have a healer anymore, do you, buddy? And I have my last Estus. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yes! Air of Fire destroyed. You get a Philionor spare ornament and a Titanite slab. Okay. Here's this cool shit about this fight. So that was a real person who had the Spear Covenant equipped. This shit. Spears of the Church. What happens is he's hanging out in this area and it's flashing in the upper left. And when somebody enters this boss fight, the game will pull from that group of people to be the boss for this fight if you're playing online. I've been the boss a couple times. It's kind of fucking awesome. So Dark Souls gives you a chance to be the boss, which is very cool. And I got a little scared there for a while, and then I realized his bark's worse than his bite. But we can touch this bad boy and rest. My God, he depleted all our shit. But, yeah, if you're playing it offline, you face a Spear of the Church named Half-Light. You get the same reward. You don't get anything special for doing either or. And we are going on up to the east side. More accurately, we're going up here where it's absolutely gorgeous. Got lots of sunlight, lots of goodness to be had everywhere. Feels good, man. But more importantly, we can open this pit up. And here is the slumbering Philionor. Let's get a look. So she's holding the sphere. It looks like an egg, maybe. That looks like it's rotted in the inside. It has, you know, like that sort of, you know, circular hole shape that we're accustomed to with the Dark Soul of Man and everything. And this phantom is right in my way. Sir, thank you. But here she is. She's been slumbering by the fading fire, all for the sake of man. And, Jesus, come on, Dark Souls, thank you. Put my binoculars away. Touch the embraced shell. We can actually get a better look of what's inside here. Yeah, it looks pretty nasty and rotted. Is that the abyss? I don't know. We also have some shimmery gold goodness happening here. And veins under her eyes. Almost like tree trunks. Or tree roots. Tree branches. Either or. but we can touch the embrace shell. So we done goofed. We woke the princess from her slumber and everything went to shit. And as you can see, a bunch of summons came up. I'm actually going to switch my silver cat ring. We're not going to need it anymore. God, what do I want to... Maybe increase his poise would be good. I'm trying to think of something else. If anything else would be better. Not that I can think of, honestly. Maybe the Estus ring. It's a close call, for sure. But we have a bunch of summons here, and there's a reason for that. If we come out here, if we go back from where we came, we can't get back. There's a column in our way. Everything is ash for miles as far as the eye can see. We done fucked up. But really, this just shows the truth. And we see someone crawling.
Eleanor, help me, please. The Red Hood is come to eat us, to eat our dark souls.
The Red Hood has come to eat us, to eat our dark souls. He is a king of some sort. Perhaps one of the pygmies of the Ring City. And, nothing really happens, so we're gonna put him out of his misery.
Eleanor, help me.
Literally nothing happens if we let him keep going. There is something else that we can do over here before we go to the main event. To the final countdown of Dark Souls. There is a familiar face over here. Or at least she should be.
I've searched for thee, dark-stricken creature. I am Shira, daughter of the Duke, descendant of gods, and trusted friend to Medea. At once, I am the honor of the gods, the glory of fire, and the fear of the dark. Thou shalt not go unpunished for thy treachery, thy profanity, and thy shameless yearning.
Daughter of the Duke. That means she's the daughter of Seath the Scaleless, y'all. Like, real shit, not making that up. Woo! Easy. Okay, hello. Yeah, you wanna... Okay, bitch. You are... You are harder than I remember. But she told us not to touch the princess and we done did the thing. Ooh, maybe we do want poise. Oh, hello. Whoa, with that. Ugh. I'm not sure how I missed that, but...
Never would I ever forgive thy lowly kind.
Crucifix of the Mad King. That's the weapon that she was, wielding. Let's take a look at that shit real quick. Why do I feel like I just missed it? Maybe I didn't. I feel like I did, though. Oh, there it is. Crucifix of the Mad King. A cross spear hung with a malformed corpse. Once, a Mad King was born to the pygmy royalty, and Shira, Knight of Filianor, put him to rest. But Shira's cross spear, unable to kill the undying king, only pinned itself to him. Shira delivered him together to a dark room, where she stayed and held them close. The skill is Mad King's folly. Slam malformed corpse into the ground to briefly awaken it, then fillet with strong attack to trigger a roar, a blessing, or vexation. Holy shit, Shira. Anyway. And then my audio died again. So you're stuck with post-commentary again. Anyway, now that we've defeated Shira, we can actually go back to where we first met her at that chapel. As we read about the crucifix of the Mad King and all that jazz, she spent, time in her formal garb in the dark room, cradling him close. And it turns out that that chapel door that we were speaking through is, in fact, that dark room where she sort of resigned herself to stay. So we can warp back there and check in on the situation. Yep, back to the ringed inner wall. So she stayed in there even when she was telling us about Madir. There are a couple theories on what happened when we touched the shell. Whether it sprung us forward in time or whether it revealed the true nature of sort of the reality around us. And in true Dark Souls fashion, there's really, evidence for both and for neither at the same time. So, just Dark Souls giving you more questions than answers. Even though it's the last DLC of the last game, it's fine. But, swapping in my Silver Cat ring here so we can platform down very quickly. Shout out again to the Silver Cat ring. But, again, time is wonky in the Dark Souls universe. Whew, that spell took a lot off. But we can go back to Shira. We can actually get through the chapel doors this time. You'll notice that they're open. And inside we are rewarded. This is likely the body of Shira, because when we touch it, we get Shira's crown and the rest of her set. So more kind of evidence of like that time is very unusual in this world, and she was speaking to us, but at the same time, we just found her corpse with her items here after defeating her in a fast forward. I don't know. Again, Dark Souls is giving us more questions than answers. But we can get Shira's crown, which is Crown of Shira, Knight in Service to Filianor, finally crafted with silver and fashioned with a pearl from a man-eater shell. Shira delivered the crucified Mad King to a dark room where she stayed in her formal wear, even though none would see her. So very much into her duty. A rare women's piece from ancient times with a spun gold shawl draped over the silver breastplate and a green woven skirt, this armor offers a subdued yet refined elegance, apropos to both a handmaiden of the princess and one whose veins course with royal blood. She said she was daughter of the Duke, and so my first reaction there is that there's only really one Duke that we know of. This is a Carthaman leather and graced with brass buttons. These are her gloves. But my first inclination is that we only really know of one duke, and it is Seath the Scaleless, who was given a dukedom by Lord Gwyn. So that's why I had, like, let's see, this is made of Carthamin leather boots over a silk underlayer. So pretty fancy set, all things considered, for some armor. And then I make a double jump here that I cut out back to Filionor's Rest here. That's what that bonfire is called. And now we're going to enter the final boss fight of the final DLC, which is why you see me switching up my rings and also getting 2 summons. But back to Filionor and being royal. She was, you know, a knight in service to Filionor, the youngest daughter of Gwyn, but she was also daughter of the Duke, and that led me to believe that she is daughter of the everlasting dragons, and maybe perhaps the reason why she has access to the lightning arrow, but at the same time it's a little murky. That's my first thought when I hear I am daughter of the Duke, is that she's Seath the Scaleless' daughter by some sorcery, I'm sure, but because I don't know. I don't think dragons can give birth to human babies, but we've seen so many weird half-breed creatures that maybe it's not so unusual. This final fight, and for the record, this first fight, we do not win it, but we get exceptionally close. I'm actually surprised that we don't win it. But I cut out, it takes 3 tries, but I cut out the second try just because that's another long fight, and we get close on that one too, but ultimately doesn't come to anything, so I just jumped to the third and successful fight after this one here. But this one I'm showing because of the cinematic cutscene opening. We have to run and follow this trail all the way back to sort of this, I'm not sure, a demolished temple, a demolished throne room. There are thrones when we pass this archway. And here we find
What? Still here? Hand it over, that thing, your dark soul. For my lady's painting.
And that is how these 2 DLC form together. We are against Slave Knight Gael, who is looking considerably different than when we last seen him. This is kind of evidence for us springing forward in the timeline. He looks a lot different. You'll see that he has sort of a dark soul, like, eating away, a sort of sigil, eating away at his chest. And you'll also notice his weapon is much more chipped and scratched, and he's looking a lot worse for wear. And he also says, "You're still here. And give me that thing, your dark soul. I need it for my lady's painting." If you'll think back to earlier when we found the Pygmy King, one of the Pygmy Kings, running away, he was saying, he's come, the Red Hood has come to eat us, our dark souls. Gael has, again, this is more evidence for spring forward in time, Gael has earned a reputation as the Red Hood who comes to eat people's dark souls. So the dark soul is sort of an elusive thing. I guess Gael thought that by consuming it, he could sort of, I guess, reanimate the dried pigment. And you'll see that here. That by eating the Pygmy Kings and their dried up blood of the dark soul,
Is this the blood
So that gives some evidence that perhaps Gael was eating people who were known to possess to the Dark Soul, the heirs to the Dark Soul, the furtive pygmies, in hopes of turning that Dark Soul into a pigment for his lady's painting, otherwise known as the blood of the Dark Soul. And here we see it re-energizing him in the most badass cinematic cutscene that we've seen in a while. Lightning is introduced. It's a good time. But the first part of this fight, here he is with his repeating crossbow, using the white corona miracle. So Gael, this is another thing, and some people I think were really confused, myself included, of why Gael, this guy who was just really introduced in the last DLC, is such a pivotal creature here at the last DLC of the last Dark Souls game. And if you stop and think about it, Gael is just like us, except that he's seen it all. The fact that he has the Way of White Corona, that little nasty move right there, the fact that he's a slave knight from way back when in the beginning, it just shows that he's been through all of this. He's been here since the Age of Fire, and he's gone through all these ages that we as a player have gone through. And for those of you that watch my Bloodborne playthrough or played Bloodborne, that looked very Martyr Logarius. Let's just call it like we see it, all those red skulls. But, super Martyr Logarius. But, yeah, Gael has been through it all. He's been here since the beginning. And how he's related necessarily, we know he's an uncle to the painter in the painted world of Ariandel. But how they're significant to the world remains a bit of a mystery. But the tale of Gael as another Ashen One, as another chosen undead, as an accursed undead, sort of speaks to our story, that we've been doing this all along with him, and that's why he's like, you're still here with me. Now give me your Dark Soul. He just wants to get that pigment to give to his lady to make a painting. Now he has a nice little phase attack there. You see, he gone and went and disappeared on us for a second there. Sneaky Gael. You want to stay away from those lightning when they come down. Nasty. But yeah, from a gameplay standpoint, the first part of this fight is a dance. You're just moving around him. This one, you have to get in there and start attacking while still dancing, though there's more opportunities for it because he's slightly more predictable with his moveset. He'll do charges like that, give you an indication of what he's going to do, and then he does shit like that, where it's really hard to tell what he's going to do. But, that also raises an interesting point about the Dark Soul of man being converted into blood and therefore a pigment for a painting. We can assume, perhaps, that the paintings rot because they don't have a Dark Soul or something as everlasting as the Dark Soul in it. So that's something to consider, that maybe this world, should it be painted with the Dark Soul as pigment, will no longer rot, and thus the cycle of fire and rot will be broken, perhaps. But here we get way down to the bitter end. Both our cooperators are dead. Gael putting up a hell of a fight. Spin to win, y'all. Except I get a little greedy here, I think. Yep, and there I go. But as you can see, it was an exceptionally good fight, and rawr, angry charge at the end. But I cut out the second fight. This is the third fight, just for transparency reasons. We have, I think it says Barbara or Barbora, and can't really see that on my screen right now. It's small so that I can have the audio recording going. But this is just to show that he runs out and greets you if you mess up the fight, where before you had to run to that arena. He'll actually run up to greet you. You can also see that when we hit him, he bleeds black blood. He bleeds the blood of the Dark Soul there on the ground, which we saw drip onto his weapon and sort of empower him to keep going. But, yep, there he goes. Yeah, he gets a little erratic. He's a very erratic fight. I'm trying to think of what to compare him to. Maybe a little bit of Dark Eater Madir, and for some reason I'm thinking of Ludwig from Bloodborne, from the old Hunters DLC. Got a little bit of that in him as well. Not entirely sure why I'm going there, but I am. But yeah, just Gael through all the ages, seen everything since the Age of Fire, since the dragons perished. He was fighting there alongside the Silver Knights to establish the kingdom of the gods and Lord Gwyn. And he's been through Dark Souls 2, and he's been through Dark Souls 3 and Lothric and all that shit, and really is truly sort of the tale of what a, quote, successful undead might look like. An undead who has persisted through the ages. And successful in the sense that they persist. Successful to us, where in the game, to be a successful undead, you actually have to be burned as, like, sort of fodder for reigniting the flame to continue the Age of Fire. So in that way, he's a bit of a failure, and so are we. I mean, we straight up just extinguish the flame so that we become a Lord of Hollows, but it's just really interesting to me that Gael became such an important figure very quickly over the course of 2 DLCs, and if you stop and think about it, and you start connecting the lore points, it sort of makes sense. It actually makes quite a bit of sense why he's your final boss. It's essentially facing what would have happened to you if you had fallen and followed his path and sort of, you know, followed this path that was put before chosen undead, and just this thankless sort of existence where, you know, you're following the god's orders and you're doing everything you can, but as a slave knight, you're not honored, even though you fought the same battles as the Silver Knights, and even though you're an Heir of Fire and an Ashen One, you know, you still can go to the Ring City and break the illusion that is the youngest daughter, Filianor. It's really interesting. But again, you know, in true Dark Souls fashion, left us with a lot of questions that will maybe never get answers. Miyazaki hasn't 100% ruled out a Dark Souls 4, but it is extremely unlikely, which is why I keep calling this, you know, the final DLC of the final Souls game, because for all intents and purposes, that's what it really is. But he's left us with some questions here. And we're getting down to it. Ooh, nasty little attack, managed to stagger him out. Oh, did that disappear? And behind! Watch out! Trust no one, not even yourself. He'll bust open those thrones. Nothing comes out. Nothing, not like the Ocarina of Time where Ganon will bust open columns to give you hearts and potions. Nothing comes out of the thrones, because this is Dark Souls. But, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Had 2 really good cooperators. I think they both make it to the end here. Talked throughout this entire fight about lore instead of, you know, the actual fight, but I mean, you can see it. It's erratic as shit. You need a helper. Like, I'm not sure how anyone would actually handle this fight one-on-one with Gael. It just seems like a shit show. Like, it would take a long time, if nothing else. I would say make sure you're agile, fast rolling, and not chubby rolling. Have a weapon that deals some damage so that when you can get in there and land some hits, they do well. You could also use a ranged weapon, I feel like, as long as you're hitting him when he's not doing this spin-to-win Beyblade shit. But that's not really often, so maybe a ranged weapon is not that great, though it will pull people. It will pull him away from your cooperators if that's what you're trying to do. And right here, we finish it up. And we win. The Heir of Fire is destroyed, who gets Soul of Slave Knight Gael and the Blood of the Dark Soul. Thank you to my cooperators, who did a fantastic job. Ah, and he's doing the toast. Yes, well that is all. That is all that is here. We can go and light our final bonfire. Whew, what a ride. And now it is lore time. So much lore. Yeah, let's crack open this nonsense here. There's the Soul of Slave Knight Gael, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength, used to acquire many souls or transposed to extract its true strength. The red-hooded wandering Slave Knight Gael sought the blood of the Dark Soul as pigment for the painted world, but Gael knew he was no champion and the Dark Soul would likely ruin him, and that he had little hope of a safe return. So it was a suicide mission for sure, and you can see how dark it is and how that centerpiece looks like humanity. Very, very interesting. So we also get Not the Dark Sigil. We want the thing next to it, Joy. Blood of the Dark Soul that seeped from the hole within Slave Knight Gael, used as pigment by his lady in Ariandel to depict a painted world. When Gael came upon the pygmy lords, he discovered that their blood had long ago dried and so consumed the Dark Soul. This earlier I was talking about he was consuming it to sort of reanimate and let the blood flow, consuming it so that it became part of him, and when he bled it became a pigment. Yeah, we can actually jump to the other goddamn DLC and hand over this Dark Soul. Go to the Sister Fried room. Sister Frida, rather. Back to the painted world of Ariandel. And we can go back up to the attic where the painter is and hand over the pigment of the Dark Soul. The blood of the Dark Soul, which, again, is just pigment. And again raises the question of what will become of this painted world now that it is painted with something as everlasting as the Dark Soul. What will that turn into, and what does that mean for future Souls games? Or is, you know, it's just further evidence that this world just continues in a different cycle now? But we can give blood of the Dark Soul, and we're gonna do it.
My thanks, Ashen One. With this will I paint a world. Please tell me thy name. I would name this painting after thee.
In my other playthrough, I gave my name. In this one, I'm gonna say I have no name. And see what she says. If you give your name, she names the painting after you.
I see. We are much alike. Then I will name this painting Ash. It will be a cold, dark, and very gentle place. And one day, it will make someone a goodly home.
That's interesting that she names the painting Ash and that we are very much alike.
I wonder when Uncle Gael intends his return. I hope the new painting will be to him a gentle home.
That to me says this painting is sort of meant for people who have spent their lives in pursuit of this cycle, trying to break it, whatever it may be. This is sort of the last respite, where you can go to rest in this cold, dark, gentle place.
My thanks, Ashen One. I will assuredly finish the painting of a cold, dark, and very gentle place. One day, it will make someone a goodly home.
Very, very interesting. She is nameless just like us, and she will name this painting Ash, and one day will make someone a home. A goodly home. And it will be a gentle place. It will be cool and dark. The opposite of an Age of Fire where it is bright and warm all the time. And that she mentions Gael, rip, but that she wanted to paint him a good home. This guy who has been through it all. That to me is what I mean when I say, you know, this seems like a final resting place, or a place where chosen undead and Ash can rest instead of locking into this eternal battle with everything that's been going on throughout the ages, to relink the fire, to sort of sacrifice themselves to keep this Age of the Gods going, this Age of the Gods where the gods did not appreciate them at all except for kindling for a fire. I'm going to link or warp back to the Firelink Shrine here and read some lore points. We can read about soul transcriptions, and also we can visit the Handmaiden and read about some armor sets that I neglected to read before. But we can transpose the soul of Slave Knight Gael into the repeating crossbow, which is customized for repeat firing to face mobs alone, and it was wielded by Slave Knight Gael. Used in the battles of an endless journey, this crossbow is covered with twists and dinks, rusted with blood, and made extremely brittle from overuse. Assume stance to activate repeat firing mechanism and repeat the fire. We also get something else from him, I feel like. Maybe it's just the crossbow. Seems like it's just the crossbow. But we can come back over here. And I actually forgot to read Sister or Lady Elfrida's set here, the Ordained Hood. Garb of Frida, Sister of the Painted World, a common black hood. After renouncing everything, Frida discovered a people that she wished to protect and assumed the precise form that they yearned for. So, looking for some sort of holy mother-like figure. A garb of Frida, Sister of the Painted World, a light blue dress sewn with thick fabric, and ordained trousers, a light blue, hidden beneath a light blue dress, are the trousers of a swordsman. An offer of protection implies the eventual wielding of a blade and spilling of blood, as Frida learned during the establishment of the Sable Church. So you get these people who have just really been trying to make a world for themselves, maybe differ from the preordained line of fighting that they've had to do to keep the Age of Fire going, finding their own way. Whether it be snuffing out the flame or painting a world with the dark soul of man that offers a cold, dark, gentle place for people to rest and no longer have to put up with this nonsense of the cycle of the gods. And with that, that is the final word on the final DLC of Dark Souls 3. Thank you for joining me. Later, y'all.